international studies. You mentioned that's that.
All right.
We should go.
Yeah, my name is Justin Hawley. You guys already kind of knew that. I am also a graduate student in the certificate program for interaction design and information architecture. My fun fact is that I like to sail a lot. I learned when I was living in New York, in the Finger Lakes region of New York, so I learned growing up on the lake how to sail, and it kind of went bigger and bigger. Boats from one person to a crewed boat, like you see out in the harbor.
I'm Malcolm. I'm a master's student in the interaction design program. My fun fact is a bike. I ride single track mountain bike, sorry. Usually on the weekends, and spend way too much time braking and then fixing my own bikes. We do want to go over a couple ground rules real quick.
Before you start that, can I just request the red, green, blue, and black markers? Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right, like Malcolm said, we want to go over just a couple ground rules before we start. We'll go over them quickly. I think they're all pretty self-explanatory, and you probably are going to follow them anyway, but we just want to get them out of the way. So the first, and they're actually up on the wall in the back here too. So the first one is that only one person talks at a time. Not only because it's polite, but because we also have some people that are taking notes and things like that. So we want to be able to get your ideas down on paper and make sure that we're capturing what everyone's saying. So we'd also like kind of, in that same vein, no sidebar conversations or separate conversations. Again, because we want to be able to have your conversation participate in the big group conversation. I think Malcolm said this earlier. There are no right or wrong answers. When we ask you a question, it's really your opinion and what you think and you feel is something that would be useful to you. So it's important to hear everyone's ideas and their opinions, even if you don't quite believe them or think that they're a good idea or anything like that. Some, I guess, housekeeping stuff. If you don't understand one of the questions that we're asking or a term that we're using or something like that, just raise your hand and ask or ask us to clarify the question or rephrase it. We want to make sure that everyone kind of understands. It's pretty simple stuff, so it should be easy to kind of follow the conversation, but please don't feel like you can't ask questions or interrupt us or anything like that. And then the last thing is to have your cell phone turned off or on vibrate, just so that we're not really distracted and we can get out of here pretty quickly. So, any questions, any thoughts about either the rules or anything we've talked about so far? All right.
So let's get started. So we want to start just by talking a little bit about the services that the Langsdale Library currently provides. For folks who aren't students here, we sort of want to hear about the services that your old library provides. So what services it provides and what services you use. We're not doing hands or anything.
They have like a little link on Sakai, the Langsdale Library. Like when you go into the Sakai account, you just press on and then like see the hour or search something. Or like the e-reserves from the library.
There's a chat client built into the, because that's new as far as I know, the Langsdale tab. And there's a chat link built in. I've never used it. That could be useful for folks. So it's Amiibo. They're using Amiibo. What are your goals for the project? What is your initial thoughts to? Obviously, we want to utilize Langsdale, but
what we're trying to do is the reason sort of we're doing this at the moment is to try and basically figure out what people are using what services people are using in the library and what they're using the library for, because there are a lot of services obviously that are offered. And we want to figure out what services are popular, what services people want to use, and ideally to incorporate that into some sort of mobile framework.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're trying to sort of start out with more general.
I see. I would design functionality to access the reserves and to basically to check out, have a basic interface to check out the books and search what's available.
Okay.
Yeah, it could scale it down. You don't need everything, but basic. Yeah, searching and yeah. I would say separate from the library. I would suggest the various other services on campus. ALC, OTS. I would try to hit them all at once, actually.
OTS is actually currently working on a mobile app. They're
Okay.
working on pushing that out.
I see.
hopefully-
And you were hoping to add to that app, is that the idea?
To be honest, I think we're trying to work in some sort of conjunction with that. But we're trying to, at the moment, we're looking at library specific.
Okay, library, okay.
Library
I'll keep it
specific
there.
sort of element. So what services are?
Oh, well, I recently found out that there's a computer lab on the second floor of Lansdale that has a scanner.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. There are other things, other services that people use actually in the library, not necessarily on the virtual library that we're using there. Is there anything that you guys do when you're physically in the library? Check out books, which people may not do a whole lot anymore, or anything like that. The computer lab is a good suggestion. Anything else?
I do enjoy the cubicles on the second floor and things.
The workspaces.
I love that because I like to distance myself from my social network so I can narrow down my focus in an environment. When I get home, I do it a little bit, but it's not as strong as I would on campus.
Yeah. So, how frequently do you use that space?
Maybe once or twice a week.
And to study or write or?
I'll take 4 hours out of my day and
Mhm.
just commit 4 hours to all of what I can do in the time until I'm ready to go home in 4 hours.
Okay.
Oh, just that. I was gonna say I like those like cubicles too, and like they have like study rooms with like with actual like doors, not like the holes on like the second and third floor. And I was gonna say maybe like if you want to come to the end where if you have a group project, say you're in class, like hey, we're gonna meet Thursday, let's make sure we can like reserve the room on the third floor definitely for our group, not just come to like got moving around, moving around, line up, sit at the table.
Do you guys find that you use group spaces in the library a lot, or that you would want, I guess that you use group spaces to do group work a lot, and that you find them, that it's sometimes hard to get them, or do you just kind of, do you like the idea of having a lot of group workspaces?
I like the option that it does exist, so when you do want to have that option, then you know where to go to make it easier.
I might suggest that if you have workstations or if the cost is reasonable to like install, to have folks check in to the group work areas. I use them quite a bit. They're great. I don't know if it's really warranted because in terms of the demand for them, I haven't had too much trouble with finding space. I'm saying maybe it's not really worth the effort. But have folks check in we could log in and see the status of.
Okay.
You wouldn't have to walk over to Langsdale, physically walk upstairs, save time.
So that's a good point that you bring up, that you're saying that you don't usually have a hard time doing something. Are finding a space there. Are there any situations where you're using library resources, either online or in the library, where you feel like you're having a hard time doing it, or it's either difficult or inconvenient for you?
The Boolean search, WorldCat,
Okay.
those lexicons, encyclopedias, I think they are too broad. If I'm researching philosophers of science, I'm just like, oh my God, I gotta read all of this, I gotta filter all of this to get what I'm looking for. So I'm kind of discouraged.
Okay. Does anyone else have that experience?
Yeah, I have a hard time like searching for a book that I want to research on using ask the library.
What about sort of the process of checking out books or getting reserved books or movies or anything like that? You guys can talk about your experience with that a little bit.
I like to get movies because the books are kind of outdated and you can get more of an accurate feedback from Google or Bing or something. So I'd rather surf the web and